r/askreddit. What is that one fact you know that always makes people respond, and why the fuck do you know that?
If you plan on using a baseball bat as a weapon, put a long sock over the end. When someone tries to grab the bat, you can rest in peace, hit away with ease, and continue with the baseball beatdown.
Just lube up the entire bat except the handle.
And if you never have to use it for self-defense, you can always test out that anus-stretching fact from a couple comments up.
That you should always use 2 hands to pick up a severed human head. Human heads weigh about as much as a standard-sized bowling ball, but unlike bowling balls, they are not perfectly spherical. Therefore, gravity is not evenly distributed across the entire head, so they have a tendency to topple out of your hand if you try to hold them with just one. And nobody wants to be the person who drops a severed head.
That's true, but you could probably grasp the head by the hair and hold it that way.
What if someone killed Mr. Clean?
Half of all bank robberies take place on a Friday.
Terminal velocity of an ant is around 3.9 miles per hour.
Alcoholics decompose faster when they die. Source: was a crime scene cleaner. Edit: so I posted this last night while falling asleep, so here is some clarification. When people die, they decompose, but people that are alcoholics will decompose faster than normal dead people. Why? I have no idea. It's been so long since I was in that line of work, I just remember enough stories and facts to stay interesting. Love you!
Crime scene cleaner. On what side of the law was this?
He's the one that receives the dinner party reservations.
A nursing sperm whale's milk comes out in the consistency of cottage cheese, so the calf can eat it in the water.
According to some cannibals, the most delicious part of the human body are the eyeballs. They like licking them. Edit! I'm not the cannibal, and thanks for the silver.
On a list of weird things, this is the one that catches my attention the most. The thought of someone licking an eyeball like it's an ice cream cone disturbs me on many levels.
Opossums eat ticks like we eat potato chips. They'll hoover up 5,000 ticks a week and never get Lyme disease themselves.
And they don't get rabies, and are North America's only marsupial. Edit! I misspoke in saying that opossums can't get rabies. It is possible for them, but rare, less common than in other mammals.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing sources and correcting my slip-up. Science is always helping people learn and improve. Also, be sure to thank your local opossum gang for snacking on all of those pests that nobody likes.
Because their body contains Altinef, lethal toxin neutralizing factor. They're also immune to the effects of multiple venomous snake bites, ricin poisoning, bees, botulinum, etc. Botulinum, etc. Since this comment is getting more popular, I ask you to read up more about opossums. Misinformation breeds ignorance. It is rare for an opossum to have rabies. I'm not saying opossums can't carry rabies, but they are 8 times less likely than wild dogs to carry rabies. They're an animal who can bite you, especially if they have young, and can carry some diseases, so don't think you can pick one up and give it a hug. But if one's living in your garage and isn't hurting anyone, don't let your first instinct be to kill it. Edit. Spelling.
Rat poison is actually an anticoagulant mixed with stuff like fiberglass. Because rats are always scraping and squeezing in the stuff, they build up these minor injuries. The anticoagulant stops their blood from clotting properly, and they internally hemorrhage to death. Since a human being is a lot bigger than a rat poison is much less effective on us.
It's so much less effective. They have turned it into an anticoagulant that just so happens to be one of the most popular medications, commonly prescribed as Coumadin, Gentofen, and warfarin.
Minus the fiberglass, probably.
Those fake roses that come inside a glass tube at gas stations aren't pretty decorations. They're crack pipes.
The best way to clean up blood without leaving a smell is salt. Just put salt and scrub. The salt helps the blood clump into pieces, making it easier to clean too. Edit. Oh my god. Thank you so much, kind stranger, for popping my gold cherry. Not a serial killer, but you can never be too careful. Edit 2. Many of you asked about taking it off clothes. So, baking soda. Mix 1 part baking soda with 2 parts cold water in a bowl and dab onto the stain using a cloth. Leave for 30 to 40 minutes. Then wipe off all remaining residue. Lemon to light and dried, in blood, simply rub half a lemon over the stain and sprinkle some table salt on top. Edit 3. Apparently, it depends on the fabric. I used that when I did Renee and got tired of purchasing new uniforms.
When it's still fresh, pour hydrogen peroxide on it, then blot immediately.
Even if it isn't fresh, this works. Hands down best way to get it out.
The maximum width the human anus can stretch is 9. 12 chem. Edit. I shall now test this with the gold medal I just received.
I've seen videos that suggest otherwise.
If you're going to stab something, always make sure to stab and twist the knife. If you stab without twisting, it will just leave a slit that can easily be mended. If you twist it, leaves a hole that can't be so easily mended.
Fun fact. In a movie, when you see someone twisting a sword or long knife after stabbing someone, it's to break open the large blood vessels that sit behind the organs. When these arteries are broken open, death occurs very quickly.
Snake's got 2 dicks. Edit. Obligated to say. Thanks for the silver, kind stranger. It's my first edit 2. Well, damn, this blew the F up. For those asking how I know this, I saw it on TV and it's stuck with me since.
Colonel, I'm trying to infiltrate the compound, but my 2 dicks keep rubbing together in the sneaking suit and it's getting uncomfortable.
A Russian woman had a crap ton of triplets, twins, and quadruplets, with the same man totaling up to 69 children.
As a woman, F that.
Horses masturbate by flopping their penis against their belly. Edit. Wow, gold for horse penis facts. I love Reddit. Thanks, guys.
If you go to a farmer's market or other place with those pony rides where the poor things walk around in a circle all day, attached to a rotating wheel, all the male ponies are whacking it like crazy out of sheer boredom. Makes for some awkward family home videos later, I imagine. Here's our Billy. Enjoying his first pony ride. Not nearly as much as the pony seems to be, I guess.
Whacking it out of sheer boredom. Horses. They're just like us.
A human tooth has 36 calories.
I'm hungry, clenches jaws. 1152 calories. Look at Mr. Badass with all of his teeth.
In ancient Babylon, people would build their most valuable possessions, fine wine among others, into the walls of their basement, which in the region was usually a naturally occurring cave, so when the taxman came, he couldn't see it to count it.
Humans dodging taxes for over 3,000 years.
From the moment we learned to collect taxes, we've been figuring out how to evade them.
The skin on your lips is the same type of skin as the skin on your asshole.
If you want to burn down a building, put potato chips in a toaster with a trail leading from the toaster to other highly flammable things. The potato chips leave no residue, and the toaster will pop back up after the chips catch fire, so there's no way to find the start of the fire.
Ryan started the fire.
Tarantulas taste like shrimp. I told this once to a random stranger because they brought up how they didn't like shrimp. They immediately hounded me about how I knew this. No, I never ate a tarantula. I read a Reddit comment that said it once, then regurgitated it as fact, and they challenged me, and I looked like a effing dweeb. Now I know why. It's 'cause they're both arthropods. You hear me, random Uber passenger I picked up 2 months ago. Arthropods.
Woodlice, aka roly-polies, are crustaceans like lobsters, but don't taste like lobster. Instead, they taste like strong urine. Edit. To everyone asking, I learned this by reading about woodlice, not by experience.
Sweet. I can't wait to tell people without knowing why. Thank you.
The heart, if perfused through the aorta with an appropriate solution, will beat for hours outside of the body.
And they have invented some kind of heart-esque arrangement to allow this to happen while they transport the heart to the transplant hospital.
Bee testicles explode when they finish and they die. Finish living with a bang.
Can bees do anything without dying afterward?
Bee exists. It is.
A 2008 Prius can float, at least for short distances. Car was not damaged in any way.
My dumb butt thought you meant in the air, not the water.
I applaud your honesty, if not your intellect.
Pythagoras from the Pythagorean theorem ran a cult, and another group came to come and murder him by locking him inside his house and setting it on fire. But instead, he had his followers make a human ladder to escape the fire, but then abandoned them, and they all died. He was murdered later that night, being chased by the group in a bean field.
The tag on a fitted sheet always goes on the right bottom corner, from the perspective of standing at the foot of the bed. Holy crap! Thanks for my first Reddit bling, kind strangers.
As someone with a king-size bed that is almost square, thank you.
When you're drowning in salt water, the salt water makes your lungs bleed, and you end up drowning in a mixture of water and your own blood. Edit. Thanks for my first gold.
As if I needed another reason to be terrified of the ocean.
When the German army captured Stalin's son, Hitler said that if the Soviets release a German general, then Hitler would give Stalin his son back. Stalin replied, "Why would I trade a general for a lieutenant?" That's right, Stalin was so serious that he wouldn't release a single POW just to get his own son back.
I remember something along the lines of after his son unsuccessfully tried to commit suicide. He commented that his son couldn't even get that right. Yeah, and his wife killed herself after Stalin had some of her friends executed, I believe. Something tells me that Stalin wasn't the best husband and father.
Owls have tube-shaped eyes rather than spherical ones. This makes it difficult to move the eyes in their sockets, but is counteracted by the ability to rotate their heads 270 degrees in either direction.
If you move the feathers out of the way of their ear holes, you can see the back of those eye tubes.
What the fuck?
If you fly a lot and want to be an asshole and never pay for a drink or food while in the air, use a credit card that is deactivated and declines. The Wi-Fi in the air doesn't pick it up until it's processed days later.
Literally, you can do this every time. Pro tip, make sure the date on the card hasn't expired and it's free cabs and whiskeys the entire plane ride. Every single time. Source, I used to date a flight attendant. It's pretty common knowledge.
You'd think if that happened, they'd try to bill you for it after, since they know who you are from your ticket.
I would agree, but I will tell you this. I worked for an airline for 8 years in the corporate office. The simple fact is, logistically, it's just too much of a hassle to go after people for a few drinks and a snack box.
We literally just don't care. Aviation is a tricky business, and we really only care about safety and on-time arrivals in addition to weather. We deal too much with cancellations and late arrivals to give a crap about someone who didn't pay for a glass of wine. Also, flight attendants just give crap away to people they know and employees who are flying off the clock in general. It's just standard knowledge. Again, I'm not advocating, but it's a thing.
Sometimes public bathrooms have bright electric blue lights. This is so junkies can't see their veins to shoot up. Update. Thank you for the shiny stuff.
Like in the Whole Foods on Height Saint.
That Disney is the biggest importer of explosives in the world. Edit. This commercially, they don't beat out the U.S. Department of Defense.
It's the fireworks. They also have to pay a fine every day when they have the fireworks show in California. Edit. I was thinking of California.
Birds need gravity to swallow, so a bird in space would die very soon. Edit. I understand there's no oxygen in space, but by that logic humans couldn't survive in space either. I meant if they had spacesuits like humans do.
All except pigeons, which have the unique ability among birds to swallow via suction.
Ancient Egyptians used to shave off their eyebrows to mourn the death of their cats.
Please don't say this where my cat can find out and put even more weird pressure on me.
The fact that mushrooms are more genetically related to humans than they are to trees.
Stalin's mom sent him to study to become a priest. He didn't like studying, so he joined a socialist group. He then became an atheist and was expelled from school for failing to attend end-of-year exams.
Sounds scarily like my friend, except instead of a socialist group, he plays Monster Hunter. World for over 8 hours a day.
FBI is fine with that. Carry on.
On the 762nd digit of P, there are 6 nines in a row.
Yeah, the Feynman point.
Wombats have cubed poop.
Poop 3.
That you can disembowel yourself if you lift weights that are too heavy. Happened to my high school gym teacher. Said he's never felt anything quite like shitting out your intestines.
Hey, lived. Do you know the process one must go through to re-embowel yourself?
Close your mouth, plug your nose, and try to breathe in super hard.